All right, it's me, Coach Kruis, back again with the coaches' commentaries. We're doing the 2021 season. A great season by all accounts. We were 6-2. We were 2 plays from going 7-1, and that's the game that we're going to be watching first today. It's our first time getting back into the swing of things after not having any games in the 2020 season, where we were playing against Florence. So to take a look at the scouting report for those guys, and this is what we got. So kind of understanding the moment here where we had no games in the 2020 season due to COVID. In 2019, had an amazing team, 7-1. Our only loss came to the team that lost at state for 8-man. And we had the best scoring defense in the state for all of 8-man, only gave up 83 points on defense. And we were integrating new players. We had only a couple of returning starters on both sides of the ball. So we had that going. Plus there were some questions when it comes to, at least on my end, when it comes to the defense. Hey, since we had so many studs in that 2019 season, was our defense actually going to work? We had a light box. We had 4 people in the box. We had a 3-1 defense. We had a 2-2 defense. And then the other 4 guys out on the field were all defensive backs. And we did that so we could play all these different coverages. We could play man, we could play zone, we could play different types of zone, all that stuff. And that's really the strength of the defense, I think. It's really complicated where most teams, they just have 6 guys in the box, 4 D linemen, 2 linebackers, or 3 D linemen, 3 linebackers, and then they play I shouldn't say our own terminology. They play cover 0 every single time. And that's a good way to give up huge plays all the time. So we really feel like us being able to do multiple things, be adaptive, is a huge benefit when it comes to the defense. But our third season of 8-man ended a couple of weeks ago, and I feel as confident as ever about our defense. But at this time, going into our second season, it was still some question marks. Okay? Is this really going to work when we don't have studs at every single position? Now, we had studs at several positions here, and we had great role players, guys who did their jobs, but we were also starting some sophomores and things like that too, which I'm never a huge fan of. But getting into Florence, we learned a lot from these guys. They were physical, and it was something that we really, really needed as a good first game back. If we played like a cupcake team and won like 50-0, hey, our heads would start to inflate and be like, oh yeah, we're still awesome and all that stuff. But we lost to Florence, spoiler alert, 13-6. And if we changed the outcome of 2 plays, okay, we put a little bit more air under 2 throws, we win by at least a touchdown. And have like some huge plays and stuff, but had a lot of penalties. We had a ton of mistakes when it comes to blocking. It was wet, as you'll see. It was raining. Fog rolled in more and more as the game went on. The ball was really slippery. We just made too many mistakes to get that victory. So when it comes to Florence here, was the first game after the scrimmage, so we don't have tons of film. We only had 31 plays, a lot of them with their young guys and stuff like that. But when it comes to when they would throw, it was all outside the hashes. They did not want to throw into the middle of the field at all. So we kind of played that way, expecting outside throws, not a whole lot down the middle. And they, based on their formations, they want to run. This should be 32% pass. Obviously. But as you can see from their formations here, okay, a lot of similarities to some of the things that we do. Of course, they did it in a different way, but as we get into the game, you're gonna be like, okay, like I can see a lot of the similarities where they don't have a QB that gets the snap and then hands it off or anything like that. Their QB is their main runner, a lot like what we do. So power run, a lot of double tight formations, multiple guys in the backfield, and then they are bringing bodies to the point of attack. Bodies and bodies and bodies. And when you can kind of see their personnel here, again with Their numbers on their practice jerseys were different from their game numbers, so you can totally ignore these. But with the number 21 was this guy, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe it's this, I don't know. Don't remember. But number 21 in the film, I was very impressed with. He had speed, he ran really hard, and I would have tried to get him the ball as much as possible because he was a playmaker. But you can kind of see how we were lining up against things. We were having a bunch of guys up. We're going to bring safeties a lot of the time. Something that we learned over the course of the season was we liked blitzing our linebacker quite a lot more than what we did the previous season, but it was to get him going. Once Noah got going, he was a great player for us, finished the season with 100 tackles. That's assisted tackles included in there. But once we got him to make a play early on, then he was really good to go. So we were trying to make that happen for him pretty quick. Also talk about how we changed our blitzes a little bit and how we were doing those over the course of the season compared to this game. But as you can see, lots of bodies, point of attack. They're going to be bringing it. And these are a lot of their common plays. So they have some different backfield action that can be confusing if you're looking into the backfield as a linebacker or as a safety. And you're going to see us getting caught a couple of times staring into the backfield, and then really obvious plays, if we're reading our keys, become not so obvious because we're not doing what we're supposed to do. But again, that is part of football. In your training, watching football on TV, it's always watch where the ball is, watch where the ball is, watch where the ball is. But when it comes to real football, that is going to be quite a bit different. So let's get into the game here. So we're in Florence. You can see with the crowd, it's raining. That fog is going to roll in more and more over the course of the game. Yeah, Florence, good team to start out against. Have a little physicality. They also did some different things with their defensive line, where they would sometimes be in a 1-3 technique. Sometimes they'd give us double A gap stuff. It'd be their DNs would pretty much always be outside, but they're really hard rushers, hard chargers. Especially towards the end of the game when they knew that we were going to have to throw, that gave us a lot of trouble. Where they're just blitzing the heck out of us and hoping to get there, and they were able to get home. But yeah, we looking at the new starters from that 2019 season. I think Carter Dashlet and Carter Zimmerman are the only two starters on offense. So Dashlet is our left guard, and then Carter Zimmerman is our quarterback. Otherwise, everybody else, this is their first snaps on varsity. So we got a sophomore Grant Vandervest in motion there, number 22. You got a sophomore Mason Malone, 54, our blocking tight end. If you're not familiar with our offense, we have like the three kind of standard interior guards, a center and two guards. And then we have a blocking tight end, which is really just a fourth offensive lineman. And we are pretty happy with our advantage there. Having four offensive linemen out there. And then we have like our receiving tight end, which is like our X, though we don't call it that. And then we have a flanker or a Z, which we also don't call it that either, but that's more standard terminology. But what's nice is when pancake block, that got called for a penalty on Caden Varden there. Another mistake where they're trying to make the game safer. So if you're having like those crackback blocks, you got to have your arms extended when you're making that block and not coming with the shoulder and killing somebody. So awesome run here by Zimmerman. Cutting stuff back. A good run. But this first series, as you are seeing and going to see more, just tons and tons of mistakes. Maybe we got a false start there from a right guard. Puts us in a bad spot. But that is not all. So you can see with Florence, they're giving us something that we didn't see a ton on defense, kind of keeping two guys deep. They actually do sprinkle in some zone coverage a little bit into their game against us. Also in some of the other film we saw of them later on in the season, they would sprinkle that in. We have motion in the trips and getting up the field. A nice block there by Mason Malone, sophomore. So we got Dashlet at the left guard. We got big man Austin Hagley at center. Then we got C.A. Ritchie, junior. Big man was a junior also. And what's kind of nice about this basic formation here is because of numbers, most teams would call that strength to the right. So the defensive right here, offensive left, just because you have a tight end and then that wing. But actually, when it comes to the good blockers, another mistake, not handling the ball, we're best to that like weak side because we have an offensive lineman as that other tight end. Yeah, so here's 21 running the ball. Strong runner. I was really impressed with him. Yeah, so we had a couple of issues with tackling. Again, that's just because we're out of it for a bit. We have Cade Preston at nose. He's a new player, came out as a junior. Huge guy, big and strong, but he just didn't know the game. Didn't even watch football on TV. So in some ways that's good, where he was a total blank slate. Everything that he was doing was stuff that we were teaching him. But even just like basic terminology was a bit of a struggle at the beginning, just because like even when you said, oh, go in and play guard, or you're going to be a 0 technique or a 3 technique or a 1 technique or whatever, he had no idea what we were talking about. So we had to teach him all that stuff. Yeah, so this is his first action. Got better and better, of course, as the year went on. Yeah, 21 getting in the open field. Not a winning business model for us. Having that motion, they're moving, we're moving. I'd like us to see us come up and attack that a lot better. But again, we got new guys and when we're looking at new starters on defense, we had 6 also, where Dashlet was the starting nose on that 2019 year as a sophomore. And then Carter Zimmerman was starting safety. So they're playing right next to each other here on the defensive left. Awesome players for us. Both are first team all-conference. But otherwise, everybody else was new and having no season the previous year. Yeah, so doing some motion stuff. Start out with the trap. Kind of seeing how they were going to adjust to things. And so Caden Varden, number 4, is a first team wide receiver and defensive back this season. And so this is the first of those 2 plays where if Carter gets it out there a little bit further, that goes for a touchdown. Nobody's catching Grant. He's the fastest guy in the field. If Caden Varden's watching this, he's probably shaking his head saying no. But if I remember correctly, in our test outs for the 40-yard dash, Grant did have a slightly faster time. Yeah, Caden Varden, even just watching this, I'm like, man, he looks skinny. which is a testament to going into, so he's a junior here. We just wrapped up the 2022 season a couple of weeks ago. And he put on some muscle. We moved him to safety. He was a great playmaker for us. He tied Grant with interceptions with 3. I think he had 2 other fumble recoveries, so he led the team in takeaways. Also led the team in tackles. So when it comes to our safeties, they're kind of do-everything players, depending on the offenses that we're going against. And our safeties are the design of the defense is to spill everything to the outside. A good stop here on 4th down, but we want to spill everything to the outside. Our 3 defensive linemen, it's their job to take up the interior 4 gaps, and if they're doing their jobs there, things are looking good for us. So if we spill everything outside, our linebackers coming up to fill and chasing, our safeties are coming up to fill. We get teams running east and west instead of north and south. So if a team is able to run north and south on us consistently, they're spending a lot of resources to stop our D-line and get those guys blocked up, or we're not getting the job done on the D-line. So nice easy catch here. Trying to get the ball moving. Yeah, the big thing for this game is just mistakes. Mistake after mistake after mistake. A nice block there by C.A. Ritchie, getting 23 on the ground. We pull a lot of guards in our offense, and we have 2 different plays. We have it's a G pull, where our guard is pulling and getting a linebacker downfield. And then we have the classic trap, where they're trapping a defensive end, almost always. But the backfield action is different. And if the other team is looking into the backfield or just reading backs, they're going to have a lot of problems deciphering those 2 plays there, which is why we run them, of course, and have a lot of success with what we're doing. Having that light box, we think we have a good advantage. In 2019, we led our conference, kind of a makeshift conference, in takeaways. This year, we led the conference in takeaways, 2021. In fact, we doubled the next team. We had 20 takeaways, and the next team had 10. And then for 2022, we led the conference in takeaways again. So game of inches. Varden almost gets that one and knocks it away. This is a great play call where trips, the coverage that we have, we almost never see 3 verticals out of those trips. And this was like one of the few times that we saw it. Kind of split or put our one of our deep safeties in a bad spot, because he had to split the difference and just barely couldn't get there. But then we fixed things. We made an adjustment where we could get all those guys covered, which is nice, where we have a very adaptable defense, even though it is really complex. So this is another play. If you put some air under it, lets Varden go get it. He's scoring a touchdown for 95 yards. So that's the second of the 2 plays that kept us from a 7-1 season instead of 6-2. Puts it on a line, doesn't see the guy dropping back in that zone coverage there. He just floats it out there just a little bit more. Big touchdown. And this game is totally different. Like I said, this is a really good learning experience for us. So Grant having a nice return here. We're back on offense. Leighton Hagley, he is the running back in right now, number 21. He's very shifty, even when he was a freshman on JV. He always looked kind of small, didn't look like the fastest guy, but he just like made plays all the time. Just like little shifts of his body weight, spins. Always getting the job done. Yeah, Varden driving, I think that was 23 downfield and getting a pancake, like 10 yards. But with Leighton, he was second team all-conference this year. And when we get back on defense, I'll talk more about getting Leighton on the field. From defensive standpoint, and as you can see, still mistakes, bad snaps, balls wet. Good punt there. Yeah, with and of course Leighton's not in here, but Leighton, we felt after the scrimmage, was one of our best 8 guys, but he was the second string linebacker. And with us running more of the 3-1 this year, we decided to move him to safety, which there's going to be some growing pains when you're moving positions. And you have Logan here, kind of getting caught peeking in the backfield, giving up a play. Your reading lineman should have been able to come up and at least get an attempt at a tackle in the backfield. But yeah, Leighton, had some growing pains because of that position switch, but he's a very smart player, smart guy generally. Yeah, so we get peeking in the backfield again with 44, ended up going out of bounds, but kind of having me pull my hair out as a defensive coordinator, where we're kind of blowing our responsibilities. Yeah, Leighton became a high-quality player. I don't think he got any all-conference recognition, but he just solidified that defense. He had a huge interception against Gibraltar. This was a huge blunder by Florence. They were out of timeouts. It was almost halftime, so this is the opening kickoff to the half. They hit that huge that play, that jump ball thrown against Grant. And then instead of coming up and spiking the ball to stop the clock, QB had a brain fart and kneeled on it, which ended the half. So we got mistakes on both ends here. Trying to motion a guy out of the box. It's poor tackling. 20-run running us over. But yeah, with Florence, they have all the points that they're going to have. But we made too many mistakes where we're still going to lose the game. So kind of frustrating where, you hold the team to 13 points and you lose. But it's a lot of hurting ourselves. Maybe it's kind of learning how to play again type of stuff. With you can try to simulate it in practice all you want with trying to be physical and stuff, but it's not the same as going against an opponent. Nice job there. Not with the tackling in the backfield part initially, but we had a bunch of guys doing their jobs. They had a bad snap too. Get double sticks. 4th down. Yeah, Grant knocked the ball away. Huge play for us. Back on offense. Our offensive struggles are kind of continuing. Their defensive ends were doing a nice job of being physical. They got the big boy in at nose tackle there where he's just trying to penetrate. Leighton with a nice run here. Hey, that's their nose tackle getting downfield in pursuit. Credit to him. Hey, nice run. Got Dashlet out there leading the way. We got some communication with Mason Malone, our blocking tight end. Motioning an extra blocker, but ended up not getting the D end, which that is a tough block. I think the play was supposed to go inside. Got a bad snap. Drive killer. So it's tough enough in high school to put a drive together of 12, 13, 14 plays. But if you have penalties, you have a bad snap, you miss a block or something like that, it's really tough to score. And so here they tried running some verticals on us again. Had everything covered. Got some pressure. Varden's about to make a play here. I'd say that the 21 or whatever went for the wrong guy. So left Varden unblocked kind of at the point of the attack there. A nice play there. I think that was Dashlet kind of knocking the QB down. Get him to a 3rd and long situation. Get him uncomfortable. And not a great snap. Dragging him down. I think that was maybe Zimmerman. Got him by the jersey. Was able to hang on for the rest of the defense to get there. So you can see this fog rolling in more and more. Of course, we had a penalty also, so we start back and further than what we want. So threaded the needle there. Get the ball to our second fastest player. Made a good play. He would have unhitched the plow a little bit. Maybe could have scored. Good adjustment by our runner there. I think that was Leighton. Bad snap. He just took the ball, ran where the hole was. Have a G play here. Getting a couple yards. This is going to be our drive where we score, our only score of the game. I think we even got it, if memory serves, on 4th down too. So there we go. Just did a wedge for a touchdown. If we cut that inside initially, should have been able to get the 2-point conversion, but again, mistakes. It's a hell of a snag by 22 there. Yeah, giving us trips. Must have had a false start, it looks like, yeah. Another pass play, bringing some pressure. Dashlet gets the sack. He just sent everybody deep on that one. They tried the 3 verticals again, but we made an adjustment. So we had everybody covered. Nowhere to go with the ball. Nice job coming up. Good read by Leighton. Like to see him bring him down a couple yards back there, but we were able to hold him up long enough that reinforcements arrived. This is a great punt by them. Gets us at like the 5-yard line. Of course, with the theme of the game here. Guys making mistakes, but have a nice job almost getting the 1st down. Give up a sack. Back here, then I think we false start. Yep, false started. Not a winning business model. Guess we're able to get out of the end zone, and pretty much what we're trying to do here is just make some space for the punt. But still, we're only at like the 2 or something like that. Get the punt off, but they're going to be starting in our territory. Got a leaner. Should be a false start. And not tackling. Giving up a big play. Making them run east and west. Clogged up the middle. And there, got a couple of yards. Getting really hard to see with the fog. And so they're running the ball. They're trying to run out the rest of the game here. A bad snap. Able to make a play in the backfield. Nice job by Carter there. Reading that, he'd be that backside contain guy. We get a 2-for-1 on Carter there. Makes him cut it up inside, right to our linebacker. You can see with that ref counting, the QB doesn't handle the ball. Not a huge fan of this. We get our defensive end on that backside, not doing his job, but we're able to just barely stop him on that 4th down play. So here, desperation throw pick, have nobody there, had a guy wide open in the flats. Another mistake, pretty much dooming us. And just running out the clock here. I think we are going to get one more possession. But like we had to throw, and then they just blitzed everybody, and were able to hold up in man-to-man coverage. They were sending more guys than we had to block. We were running deep routes. This is a big play by Varden coming up from his corner spot. Kind of talking to him. I'm not sure how far after this game it was. Maybe we talked after this game, but then at the end of the season, he talked about how, he was a freshman on JV, was a stud player there, got some time, had a holding penalty, got some time on varsity a little bit as a freshman. And then his sophomore season, didn't have any games. So he said he was like kind of nervous. He was kind of scared to come up and make tackles and stuff, but then he's coming up and making plays. Yeah, so bad snap on top of it. Ugh. But kind of scared coming up to make plays, but then kind of like, I'm like making good plays. I'm getting tackles. I'm doing a lot of good things. And that gave him a lot of confidence going on for the rest of the year, which of course is really good. And then that kind of translated into his senior season, which we got done with a couple of weeks ago, where he was a total stud. First team all conference as a safety, first team all conference as a wide receiver. Don't know for sure yet, but probably going to get some all region nods and stuff too. So he's a guy that's looking to play college football, probably like a Division III type of situation, but guy who worked hard over the course of his high school career, got bigger, got stronger. It's a 3-sport athlete or 2-sport athlete, I can't remember, but played multiple sports and made himself into a great player. But so didn't get what we wanted against Florence, but it was a good learning session. But when it comes to film, how to do things the right way, and learning our X's and O's better and stuff. So that's going to catapult us for a good season where we ended up getting second place in conference. I think we were scoring 36 points a game. Did a lot of great things on offense and defense and special teams too. So I'll wrap this one up for Florence here. and we'll see you on the next one.